Hi everyone, I'm here once again with another episode of In Conversation with Sumit Srivastava और आज जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं उनका नाम है अभिनव सिन्हा and he is co-founder of EKO India Financial Private Limited, popularly known as EKO. It's a fintech startup and very much popular and successfully doing this business since 2003 I guess. So इसके बारे में और इस सिनेरियो में इस पैंडेमिक सिचुएशन में हाउ दे पीपल आर हैंडलिंग द ह्यूज टीम द क्लाइंट एंड द सर्विसेज एट द सेम टाइम और क्या है कैसे इफेक्ट हो रहा है ये बताने के लिए खुद हमारे साथ हैं अभिनव सिन्हा जी। सो अभी मैं वो हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगे। जस्ट गिव मी अ मोमेंट। हेलो सर, वेलकम टू माय अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ इन कॉन्वर्सेशन विद सुमित श्रीवास्तव एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर गिविंग मी टाइम।
Thank you so much for having me here, Sumit. First of all, all the best to you to actually bring some of us on the show, and which gives us the opportunity to share what we are going through and how we are tackling it, and also for people like me to watch some of your other episodes and figure out what others are doing. So fantastic work. I think it is very, very, very needed at this difficult time for the entire industry.
थैंक यू सो मच सर, थैंक यू सो मच एंड दिस वाज ओनली ऑब्जेक्टिव। सो सर, आगे बढ़ने से पहले सबसे पहले मैं चाहता हूँ मेरे व्यूअर्स ब्रीफ में बहुत शॉर्ट में जाने कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली एको डज और उसके बाद हम आपसे आपकी एंटरप्रेन्योरियल जर्नी कैसे हैंडल करें चीजें। तो सबसे पहले हाउ थिंग्स आर गोइंग एंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली एको डज फर्स्ट।
Sure. So just to correct you, I started EKO in 2007 September. We cater to customers in India. So we cater to the low and moderate income customers in India who earn between 10,000 and 50,000 rupees per month, however, in cash. So as many of you know, that more than 80% of India's GDP is made up of MSMEs, which are largely working in the informal sector. And as a result of which, more than 80% of working Indians continue to earn in cash. And if they're earning in cash, the entire digital ecosystem is kind of inaccessible to them. And what EKO does is we are a three-sided platform, which has brands on one side, these low and moderate income customers on the second side, and we have a set of intermediaries who make the brands to reach out to the end consumer. And very simple example and very popular service is we will partner with a bank which wants to open very large number of bank accounts for low and moderate income customers. And the intermediary would be, let's say, a pharmacy shop. So we allow a pharmacy to put a signage which says State Bank of India outlet, and customers walking into that pharmacy is able to access these brands. So over the last 13 years, while we started with banks, today we offer services of insurance, banking, education, entertainment, many other categories are open, where brands are able to reach the low and moderate income customers who typically need access to digital products because they, and the two problems that they largely face is they don't have access to digital money, and they are unable to do the transactions themselves due to many reasons, including the language English, and they need assistance. And that's where we come and bridge the gap. That's EKO's fundamental business. And top of it, there are many, we leverage the data for many ways in which we monetize our intermediary network or our customers network. However, that's really the customer acquisition strategy that we have. Get the brands in, get the intermediaries in, and service the low and moderate income customers.
Super. Sir, I have seen your office. I have visited the place. There's so many people. You have created a large team and doing business. So अब मेरा क्वेश्चन आता है क्योंकि ये मेरा जो एपिसोड चल रहा है, ये सीरीज चल रहा है, दिस इज क्वारंटाइन स्पेशल, कोविड में जो भी इफेक्टेड चीजें चल रही है। सो पहला क्वेश्चन मेरा आपसे होगा कि एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, how you are tackling this situation, because of course you are also facing, जैसा आपने बिजनेस मॉडल बताया, इसमें कई इम्पैक्ट खतरनाक आया होगा इसके ऊपर। डेफिनेटली ये चीज हम लोगों के सामने एज एंटरप्रेन्योर नहीं थी कि ये सामने चीज आ सकती है। तो हाउ, आई मीन, बीइंग अ फाउंडर योरसेल्फ, व्हाट ऑल चैलेंजेस आर यू फेसिंग एंड हाउ डू यू सी एज अपॉर्चुनिटी और एज थ्रेट? सो प्लीज टॉक अबाउट दैट इन डिटेल।
Sure. So thanks for asking this question. This is very important for EKO, and I'm sure it is very important for others too. So I'll give you an example. For all the pictures that you and I and everybody is seeing of many migrants going away from Delhi, Bombay, back to their villages, guess what? Those are my customers. People that Echo was servicing in Gurgaon, in Delhi, in Bangalore, in Calcutta, in Bombay are all going back home, right? So those are my customers who are going back home. So
Oh,
from a and we our network is largely a urban network because we cater to the low and moderate income customers who are earning, who are on the economic generation side, rather than the side which is dependent, which is probably in the rural areas, right? And so the economic activity, because it's coming to a standstill in the urban areas, these people are going back. And so we've got a large number of customers of ours who are let's say, for example, were used to be in Delhi. Some people have got back to Bihar, some people are on their way, some people are stuck. So it's a big issue because our customer base is in a turmoil. Secondly, we used to like the example that I gave you of a pharmacy or a kirana store or a mom and pop store which would do this business with us. Or also scared of the fact that one is that most of the customers have gone back. The other is that how so let's say even if there are 20% of the customers are still there, how do they service them, right? Because there is a lockdown, there is difficulty in going out and things like that. So there is a massive amount of challenge that Echo is facing. And so what I am particularly sharing with my team, and I would also large through this medium also like to share, is that I think the first rule is that I don't think so entrepreneurs should get into the mindset that this is about to get over. For example, we are speaking on the 6th of April. We shouldn't be thinking that the lockdown is only the 14th. Maybe I just need to manage the next 11, next 1 week. I don't think so that's the right mindset. I think the mindset has to be, this is what it is. This is the world now. Because if the world comes back like it was, pre-coronavirus, we'll all be happy. But that is not where the best idea generation or the best team bonding will happen. I think we got to start thinking, this is a changed world. What do I need to build? What are the new problem statements which are there with my customers? Are there newer segments of customers that I can address to? So one is that, we shouldn't, one basic principle that I'm telling myself every day and telling my team is not to fall into the trap that this is about to get over. That will make us complacent. That will make us say, hey, I just need to manage the 1 week. I think we got to start telling ourselves, this is the world it is, and now start thinking. It's
very
you
well
know
said.
this is going to be very difficult. There is a possibility that we've always built. Echo is largely built for urban India. We didn't build for rural. Not that we were not present in rural, but we largely built for. So if I
Right.
start thinking about this is about a week, just week more, then I'll say, sure, let's just calm ourselves down and let's just wait for the week. But I think that's not the right attitude. The right attitude is that the world has changed. We got to think differently and start building. And that's, I think, where as a leader in my company, I need to motivate people to start thinking. And this is also the message that I would largely want to give, that I don't think so we should be complacent. It is difficult. This is needless to say that it is difficult, but we don't have to get into the mindset that it's just another 10 days. Even if it is for the next 10 days, I think that's not the mindset to be in.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Very well said. I mean, जिसने भी ये सोचा कि this is for just this is till 14th only, वो trouble में आ ही जाएंगे. This should not be the attitude at all. I think this is the best
Right.
thing which is coming in this episode. Uh, एक दूसरा क्वेश्चन मैं पूछूंगा सर. इतनी बड़ी टीम है आपकी. थोड़ा सा तो आपने मिक्स करके आंसर दिया, बस थोड़ा सा मैं स्पेसिफिकली उस पर जाऊंगा बिकॉज दिस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इतनी बड़ी टीम है, सबने और मैं आपके ऑफिस में आई हैव सीन द एनवायरनमेंट. ऑल द टीम मेंबर्स आर फ्रेंड्स, दे आर नॉट एम्प्लॉयज, ऑल आर फ्रेंड्स. दे कॉल यू with your names, Abhinav, Abhishek. They don't call you sir and all. ऐसा माहौल आपने बना के रखा है. इस सिनेरियो में how your team is intact with you, how you are communicating with them?
I think it's honestly, it is not easy. It is fairly difficult. But even before the lockdown, Echo's largely we largely run Echo with a lot of transparency. So, for instance, we say that you can ask me anything except a colleague's salary.
It's perfect.
Apart from that question, any team member of mine can ask me any question. What's the losses? What's the investor thinking? What's the revenue? What's the sourcing price? And it's open. So
Right.
one is we lead it with a lot of transparency, and I don't think so. It is very easy because there are difficult times. There are questions that you would prefer not to answer, but you got to. So at least the principle that we are using is lead by transparency. One of the other things, a good practice that Echo does is that we do a Monday all hands where everybody logs in. We used to meet in person, but today we do it over one of these online platforms. One of the things we are thinking about is that while we were in office and in person, we used to do all hands once a week. Last week we did it twice, and I think that's going to be the way it will continue to happen in Echo. That we'll at least do an all hands twice. In the all hands, it is not a monologue. It's not that only I am talking and I'm talking for an hour. That's not the way we do it. What we realized in Echo is that a lot of people want to ask a lot of questions, and at times they want to stay anonymous with those questions. They don't want to be singled out that I was the one asking this question. So we created a mechanism of asking anonymous questions even when the lockdown was not there. We are continuing with that practice. We are
Super.
continuing with that practice,
I think
and
this could
as a
have
result
helped
of
a
it,
lot. This
right.
could
So
have
I have, yeah. So this is Monday, right? We're talking on Monday. So I just finished my all hands, and I'm answering all sorts of questions. That are you going to cut equal salaries across everybody? Are you going to cut salaries? Are you not going to cut salaries? Are you going to fire people? What if this extends for another 40 days, right? And there are many such questions. You don't know, and this is coming out of the anxieties that people are going through, and valid. Not that I am not anxious. This is a scenario which we had not considered, so one has to. But largely saying that lead with transparency. It's a practice that Echo was continuing since past. It is easy for us to build on it. But the other thing that I would suggest to all fellow entrepreneurs and leaders in the company, lead with transparency. There's no other way of doing this. I don't think so.
So, sir, another question I wish to ask. I mean, if you wish to answer, because this could be an internal question that your
Please
employees,
do.
team members, they are. So, this is the time I say that this is the time when the employees will have to think of their employer as well, because this is the time when they should also share the crisis, because this is a global crisis. This is not that we have created it or our failure. So, are you getting this or seeing this? Are you experiencing this in your company, that your team members are coming up and saying, "Don't worry, we are there with you"? It is happening. If you want to answer, then answer.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yes, absolutely. So there are few people, by the way, I'll tell you, without you and Echo taking any decisions, whether cutting salaries, etc. I had a couple of colleagues who wrote to me that, when I've got enough savings to manage 2 months, why don't you just cut 100% of my salary? I did
Wow,
have that
it
suggestion,
happened.
right?
It happened. Oh
It
wow.
absolutely did. It absolutely did. And I'm sure that, it's not only in Echo. I'm sure there are very dedicated people across many different companies and many different entrepreneurs must be experiencing this. There are definitely people who are, who can manage it, who are financially a lot more prudent than the others. So they do come out. But I would suggest we shouldn't make judgments, right? People who are writing this are good versus people who are not writing it are bad, right? Because I don't think so. It's a question of making a judgment. Everybody's making their own financial calls. So, but I think that's happening because of transparency. Over a period of time, the fact that we build that transparency, I have some colleagues who come and tell me that, why don't you just come for the next 60 days? I'm happy to go without salary. Second is I have a couple of colleagues who also came and said, what, my job is getting redundant. I have these 5 ideas. Why don't you tell me which is the one that I should concentrate in this new scenario? Now, again, whether it is about, I think whether it is about cutting salaries, one person to say it, or whether it's about one or two people saying that, my roles are changing. I think this is where the energy has to be focused on, right? As to what is the new objective that the company should look at and align your team accordingly. So I think on a very large basis, we are not going ahead and saying, we are firing people. I think it's a very bad time to fire because who's going to, even if you take that strong call, what happens to that individual? The hiring for the other side is not happening either. So I think firing would I wouldn't say it's a good or a bad decision, because at the end of the day, every entrepreneur has to figure their method to survive. But at least at this point in time, Echo is not saying that we're going to fire or we're going to cut salaries, things like that. But it's very important to understand the new world, understand the new objectives, and align the team as much as we can. And I'm not saying that just by doing that you can manage all the cost and all the expenses and all the vendors, but at least that's a positive way of thinking about it. I think you have to figure out ways to manage cost, but I think you got to also at the same time give new directions to where the company has to get to.
So I think sir, whatever shared, just shared the way you people are working, the way you people are leading by transparency. So what I believe that in this scenario, ECO must be a case study for other entrepreneurs. I'm surely going to share this through YouTube and all, and people must know this. Uh, so now coming to this fintech thing, what exactly your forte is and what exactly you do. But basically, you are a fintech startup, basically. So my question is, what do you see? I mean, there's so many nature fintech startup के थोड़े अलग अलग हो सकते हैं, but what is the future you see? I mean, कल हमारे एक गेस्ट थे, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली कि अब आने वाले टाइम में एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बात करेंगे एक प्री कोरोना एरिया और एक पोस्ट कोरोना एरिया. सो बिजनेस एनवायरनमेंट बिल्कुल चेंज हो जाएगा अब इसके बाद, एंड इट वाज वेरी वेल सेड. सो नाउ यू सजेस्ट पोस्ट कोरोना क्या होगा, फिनटेक स्टार्टअप का फ्यूचर क्या है, हाउ डू यू थिंक थिंग्स, कितनी जल्दी, क्या कुछ है दिमाग में कि कोई फोरसाइट इसके बारे में?
It's a bit tough one, but I'll tell you. I think as far as the fintech is concerned, uh, I I really don't have a crystal ball to figure out whether this is going to come back in a month's time. But the more I read about it, I don't think so. It's going to come back in a month's time. I think it's a matter of 6 months to even longer. And I'll tell you, one of the closest experiences that Echo had in terms of disruption, right, was even demonetization. Not saying good or bad, but just to get back to similar levels of transactions for us, right? So demonetization, many ways, for example, it was very, very hard for the lending guys, right? Because people were not able to pay back and things like that. We look at customer base, which is low and moderate income customers who earn in cash. So it was very, very different than a typical, digital payment ecosystem. So my take is that, assuming, let's look at the data from the companies, which kind of went through a lower spike during demonetization rather than the companies that went through an upper spike. If you look at the data, I think it took about 6 months just to get back to the levels pre-demonetization, right? And my baseline would be at least 6 months. And I think this is a far bigger disruption than demonetization was in terms of economic activity, right? Economic activity, while it got disrupted, I don't think so it got disrupted to the extent that this particular problem that the world is facing disrupted. So my baseline would be 6 months, and my sense would be that also think about it. For example, in demonetization, the Prime Minister announced it on November 8th, and said that there was a timeline, if I remember, until 31st of December, right? So it was about 2 months period. Uh, we've the slowing down of transaction economy has already started from early March. We're in early April, so we are already 1 month into it. There is a very likely possibility for at least one more month, and I'm not saying lockdown, but just slowness of activity. And thereafter, let's say if things go right and people and starts to grow up, uh, my the point that I'm making is this problem is way bigger in terms of disruption to the economic activity than what demonetization did. And therefore my take is that the reverse in terms of the economic activity coming back is going to take, baseline is 6 months, but take much longer. And I guess in terms of fintech, my take is that fintechs providing essential services, will probably see the business coming back a lot sooner than products which were kind of catering to a slightly higher ordinary. That would be my sense. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so for instance, let's take lending as an example. We were, across multiple startups, people were lending a reasonably large SME to all the way to an unorganized MSME. Now, it is unfortunate, but lending back to the MSME is going to be it's probably going to take a much longer time than getting back to lending to a reasonably large SME. So, depending upon a few of these things, some things will come back sooner than others, but this is where the opportunity is as well, right? This is where the opportunity is. If the incumbents in MSME lending will take time to come back, is there a newer innovation that is possible at this point in time to actually fasten it? And so it is the absolutely responsibility of the incumbents to think about it, and also for newer guys to look at this as an opportunity. We are doing this as well. For example, if Echo's ecosystem was a lot more urban than rural, but my typical customers have gone back to rural, I'm saying maybe rural is the new opportunity. We are trying to
Yes.
build completely for the rural, right? What we are seeing is that typically people, the middle income, the middle class, that we typically say, were not using Echo's services. Suddenly, we see them use Echo services as well. Now, some of our services are being consumed even by the middle class people, which typically wasn't the case. So it's an opportunity. It's a question about how, whether it's Echo or anybody else, is able to look at the new customer, new opportunity, new products, and scale it as soon as possible. It's going to
Absolutely.
come back. It's going to come back. I'm pretty bullish about fintech pre and post Corona. I think the flavors, and there could be newer players, there could be newer products, and there should be.
Sir, one thing I would like to ask here, and I want you to talk about that because this is what made me invite you for this show. I mean, like you said, your most of your customers are migrants, and they have left the places, and now you don't have that transaction which it used to be. But I saw you people are sitting ideal. You're looking for alternatives and all. So now you created something where you can deliver funds at the doorstep, something like that. So I
That's
wanted to
correct.
tell viewers that there is huge problem that most of the customers are migrants. They're leaving the place and they're on the way. They are stuck. So Eco, as an entrepreneur, the founders could sit idle and think, "Ki kya karna hai?" And now they're coming up with alternatives, which could also help the stakeholders. So, sir, please talk about that. What you're doing.
So absolutely, thanks for bringing the conversation here. So we just recently launched a doorstep service. This is really, while it's called doorstep, there are many implications to this. That a lot of my typical customers are in transit. Maybe they used to live in Gurgaon, today they are in Agra and things like that. So we are working to make sure that wherever you are, we'll get you the service there. So typically, what used to happen was that my customers was walking into an intermediary, let's say a retail store. But today it's the other way around. We are saying, you stay where you are, we will get to you and we'll provide you the service. So, this is like a completely 360 degrees turnaround for us. We would, doorstep delivery was always one of those ideas which we wanted to do, but was never prioritized because of the current pressures of the business. But today it is the main idea that we are working on.
And this is
And
happening across
all
India. And this is happening across India, sir.
this is happening across India. Now we've got customers who we are servicing on their doorstep across the country, and this is where we because doorstep delivery of basic banking service was always a lower order priority for us. We never prioritized it. Corona, this particular situation has made it has priority, and guess what? Even middle income customers who are typically an online customer who are not using Echo services, all of a sudden have started to use it. No, we
Yes,
didn't see
yes.
this coming. We didn't see this coming. But so therefore, I think there is definitely a problem. There is an opportunity which is opening up. I'm not saying it is easy to always see the opportunity, but I guess there's no other option but to try and figure out what that opportunity is. And my take is, let's not look at only one opportunity. I'm kind of addressing other entrepreneurs as well.
Sure, sure.
Don't look at only one opportunity. See if there are five, right? Take a few baby steps to figure out which one is easy to execute, which is trying to get a little bit more traction than the others, and then kind of double down into one, because we really don't know which is the opportunity that's going to work. And that's probably what even at Echo we are doing. So yeah, doorstep delivery was really born out of this inability for people to actually leave their houses and get to intermediaries. As per the Home Ministry's notification, actually, EKOs and EKO services fall under essential services. So we were able to continue to give ID cards and take all the government permissions to get our retailers to actually and intermediaries to actually provide services to the customer. And therefore, we were able to design for this doorstep delivery, and that's why we are able to deliver the service across the country right now.
This is really, really wonderful. I think, sir, you talked about EKO, the challenges you people are facing, the way you people are tackling things, the FinTech, pre-Corona and post-Corona. You also talked about the alternate action you people are taking. I think this was really wonderful. And like I said, the way you people are working in this scenario could be a case study for other people, which I'm definitely going to write with this video on YouTube, and it will reach to more and more people, I wish, and they could understand how a leader leads. And one thing came, I used to tell people so far that lead by example, but I would add now that lead with transparency, and this is coming from you. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And by the way, congratulations and all the best to you too. Just to make sure that cumulative voice of many people reach to many others. We definitely have to spread the good news. There is too much of bad news around, so we definitely have to
absolutely, sir,
spread the
and
good news.
and
That's important.
you people are helping me a lot because things coming from you are really helping people, and I'm getting very good response. So, thank you so much, sir, for being with me today and giving me your time.